Hello student, welcome to social science class once again, and in the last class I have discussed geography chapter 2nd, and today I shall start a new chapter. It is geography of India, chapter number 3. Geography of India. Now first we will see a brief introduction of India. India is a country situated in northern hemisphere of the earth. This is equator, this is northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere, this is north pole, this is south pole, this is equator, and it is 0 degree. So India is situated in the northern hemisphere of the earth. Country, it lies in the continent of Asia, and it is large. It is a large and the democratic country and full of diversities. Now there is on the one hand that the severe cold climate of the high snow covered Himalaya, and others are that there prevails a very hot and the sandy. Climatically, and the different climatic zones are there. Himalaya region very cold, snow covered area, and dry, hot and dry areas are there. Say this Rajasthan, okay, sandy desert area. Now floods also cause this because of this heavy rainfall, okay, and mainly in the summer and rainy season. And some area also witness this drought because of lack of rainfall, scanty rainfall. Now this location, exact location and size of India, of country, we will see now. Asia is largest continent in the world, and India is in southern part of this continent. In Asia continent, India is located in the southern part. Now where exactly this India is located geographically? It is located 8 degree 4 minute 28 second north. 8 degree 4 minute 28 second north, and 37 degree 17 minute 53 minutes north. 37 17 50 degree north, and 68 degree 7 minute 33 east. 68 degree 7 minute 33 second east, and 97 degree 24 minute 47 east. So this is the exact location of India. Once again I am telling, 8 degree 4 minute 28 second north, 37 degree 17 minute 53 second north latitude, 68 degree 7 minute 33 second east, 97 degree 24 minute 47 second east longitude. Tropic of Cancer passes. This Tropic of Cancer passes at 23 degree 30 minute north. 23 degree 30 minute north. North line of latitude or Tropic of Cancer that run through midway of the country. Now total landmass of the country in the north-south extension, north south west, east, north, south, east, west. So north south extension it is so from Jammu Kashmir to here, Srinagar to Kanyakumari, it is 3214 kilometer, 3214 kilometer, and east west extension it is 2933 kilometer from Itanagar to Gandhinagar. And India has about 6,100 kilometer long coastline. Coastal area means these are the coastal area, okay, and total length is 6100 kilometer. And India has total 15,200 kilometer long boundary with Pakistan in the west, China, Nepal, Bhutan in the south, China in the east, and Bangladesh, Myanmar in the southeast. So these are the international boundary. Total is 15,200 kilometer. Now India, we know it is a very vast country, and in terms of the size, okay, it is the seventh largest country in the world, and this country is 13 times larger than the United Kingdom and 4 times larger than Japan. So India has total area 32,87,263 square kilometer. It occupies 2.2% of the total area of the earth. Because of its vast extension, India is also called as the subcontinent. And next topic. So this is a brief geographical location, its extent, and this coastal area and the international boundary. Okay, long international boundary line sharing with the other neighboring countries. So next topic, it is the physiography, the different landforms that we will discuss now. We will see. So the different landforms. Okay, so India's total land area here 32,87,263 okay square kilometer. This area it comprises of this mountain area, plateaus, plain. Okay, and the minor other landforms are also there. And all these landforms significantly characterize physiography of the country. Now out of this, roughly mountain covers 10.7%, hill and the hillock covers 18.6%, plateaus cover 27%, and the plain covers 43.3% area of the country. Now other than this, Himalayas and its branches stand entire on the north and the northeastern boundary of India, and the mountains, the mountains region. In this mountainous region, the landform like the mountain peak, glacier, steep, gorgeous waterfall, all these are there in the Himalayan region. Now Himalaya and its branches are the major these mountain ranges, like the Himalaya, northern Himalaya and its branches. Some of the major mountain ranges are also there in the southern area. Now Aravalli, Vindhya, Satpura, Mahadev, Mahakal, Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat are found in the southern India. So like in the northern India, so this southern India also, some of these mountain ranges are found, and these are Aravalli, Vindhya, Satpura, Mahadev, Mahakal, and Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, etc. Now all these extensive plateau region in the southern India, so these are called the Deccan Plateau, and northern Himalaya have created vast plain areas in the northern region, and mainly these are very fertile area of the northern India created by mainly the three rivers, Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Now how this created, these three river created number of the vast plain, that we will discuss in the subsequent topic or in the topic which will follow. Now India has number of lakes also there, and major lakes are Ural in the Kashmir, Pushkar and Sambar in the Rajasthan, Chilka in Odisha, Kolar and Pulicat in Tamil Nadu, and Loktak in Manipur. India in the world, it is known for its river. India is a land of river. Now this southern major rivers, okay, in the southern India the major rivers are Narmada, Tapi, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and the Kaveri. So now this difference between northern India river and the southern India river, this we will see now. Northern India river have their water flow throughout the year, but southern Indian rivers do not have all this, means the running of the water throughout the year, because this northern India river, okay, so the river originating point of the river and mainly the covering of this Himalayan region by the snow, okay, so this result the continuous coming of the water from this Himalayan region, and such characteristics it is not there in the southern region, and because of this the South India rivers are not perennial or not running water throughout the year. Now three courses of the rivers, okay, so these upper course, middle course and the lower course are seen in the northern river, and such courses are not seen in the southern river. Clear? Three courses, okay, upper, middle and the lower course, okay, seen in the northern and southern, there is no such course. Now the bellies of the northern river are white, okay, the bellies, okay, in the northern river these are very white, okay, and the long course in the plain. Southern India river comparatively narrow, their course is very narrow, and rivers are flowing rapidly, these are not also navigable. Southern river comparatively narrow, and because of this narrowness these rivers are not navigable. Navigable means where the ship can run. Now the river of southern India are older and they are flowing in the definite course over the hard rock. Now mainly these like the Himalaya, okay, there is no such like the mountainous region. Mountains are there, but its altitude is comparatively much lower than the Himalaya. So that is why, and mainly the rocky areas, and because of this, okay, this river, because of this rocky region, this river do not change their course, okay. Changing course means this way river going, okay, after one decade the river change its course, like this it is going. So this is the changing of the course. So there is no such scope of changing their course in the southern area as like in the northern rivers. Now this northern river, North Indian river are not swift along with the rivers, and they carry high sediment load, but these rivers are not suitable for hydro generation. Northern India rivers always carry sediment load from the Himalayan region, and how Himalaya form, when we will discuss this, that we will get how this sediment comes along with the water in the northern region, and because of the presence of excessive sediments and loads of the sediments, so generation of the this hydropower generation, it is not possible in the southern region, but the hydro generation power, it is very easy to generate hydro generation in the southern river. Northern river, this have very fertile bellies, okay, so the wherever the rivers, okay, went, so the areas and the bellies what created, so these bellies are very fertile, whereas in the southern India these are not very fertile, and because of this, that these areas are not very densely populated as like the northern India. Now the northern India are very navigable, northern Indian rivers, and southern India are not navigable, and because of this navigability, so large number of cities also came up in the northern region as compared to the southern region. Now this India this India is divided into 4. So this is all about the difference between northern India and the southern India. Sometimes question comes in the exam, write the difference between northern India and the southern India. So directly you have to write. So what I told you now. So to understand India in a better way, so India is divided into 4 physiographic units, and this physiographic unit one by one we will discuss. And now first one, it is the northern Himalaya. Now northern Himalaya, it is Himalaya, it is the highest mountain of the world, and it has many branches, and with all these branches togetherly, okay, all these branches togetherly, it is known as the Himalaya mountain system. This mountain system extends from India, Nepal, China, and hence the Himalaya mountain fall in India. We will discuss only this portion. Now we will see how this Himalaya form. Now geologists have confirmed that in the Tertiary period it is the 66 million to 2.6 million this Tertiary period it lasted. Now the place present in the Himalaya standing, so it was occupied by millions years ago. A sea was occupied this place. Now that sea, it was the Tethys Sea. Now in the class 10, when you will get this continental drift theory and how this 7 continents and the 5 oceans came into being, so then you will get the details all about the Tethys Sea and this. Now this Tethys Sea form this in between the 2 land mass. One is the Angara land and one is the Gondwana land. So this Angara land and the Gondwana land, so sediments started depositing on the bottom of the sea. So now it was not over the night that the Himalaya formed, so it took number of years, okay, number of years, thousands years. So as a result, what happens, so the sediments and all these deposited on the bottom of the sea, and after that, so this bank of these 2 land masses got deposited, okay, sediment eroded from these 2 land masses and deposited on the bottom of this Tethys Sea, and as a result, so heavy sediment deposited on the bottom, and northern and the southern edge of the sea came closer and it squeezed, okay. So when squeezed, so a mountain erected or stood there. So this is Himalaya mountain. So is this north landmass and the south landmass, these 2 landmass, Angara and the Gondwana land, so when came closer, Himalaya mountain formed, and this believed to have this Himalaya mountain system believed to have born through this process. Now geologists, they have opinion that the Himalaya acquired the present shape and the size and the height during the mountain building process. It continued, okay, it continued for about last 7 million years. 7 million, 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. So this is how the Himalaya formed, and in the east-west direction of the Himalaya can be divided. East-west direction of the Himalaya can be divided, okay, so into 3 parallel ranges, and it is this the higher Himalaya, lesser Himalaya, and the outer Himalaya. So these are the 3 ranges of the Himalaya, and so this snow-covered ranges at an average height of the 6,000 meter. Now this is all about the Himalayan region and how Himalaya formed, and from this, okay, from this Himalaya mountain system, number of rivers also originated, and as a result of this Himalaya peak or the top of the Himalaya mountain system always covered by snow. Because of this, so North Indian river, the river which originated from the Himalaya mountain system, all have water throughout the year, or these rivers are called the perennial river. Now a northern plain. Now northern plain, it lies between the Himalaya ranges in the north and the Deccan Plateau in the south. It extends from Assam in the east and Indo-Pakistan border in the west with a total length 2400 km. Now the northern plain, if we see like this, it will go, total length is 2400 km. So it starts from in the east Assam, and there in the west it is the Indo-Pakistan border. Now physiographic unit mainly it is known as Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra plain. Now these plains, okay, these plains are created by mainly these three rivers, and because of this physiographic unit is known as Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra plain. Now this vast plain, okay, this vast plain consists this northern plain consists of the mainly the 5 plains, okay, and these plains are namely western plain, Punjab Haryana plain, Ganga plain, North Bengal plain, western plain, and the Brahmaputra plain. All these plains are formed by Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra rivers. Now this Punjab Haryana plain has been has been created by Satluj, Bias, and the Ravi rivers. So Punjab Haryana region created by Satluj, Ravi. So these are what? These are the tributaries of the Indus river. Now Ganga plain covering the plains of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and the West Bengal created by the river Ganga, and similarly Brahmaputra and its tributary created the Brahmaputra plain of Assam. Now this Brahmaputra bank, this Barak valley created by the Barak river, and the Brahmaputra valley created by the river Brahmaputra. So this is all about the creation of this northern plain by this mainly the 3 rivers, and it's all the tributaries, the branches of the these 3 rivers, Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, created this vast northern plain. And mainly the tributaries of the Indus, it is the Satluj, Ravi, and the Bias carrying alluvial sediment. So I said you this from the Himalaya sediment comes along with the water, and because of this that this northern plains are very fertile, and because of this region that the large number of population or the population density is more as compared to the other areas. Now this the plain the other principal river of this Himalaya river, it is the Brahmaputra, and its tributary created the Brahmaputra plain of the Assam, and this Brahmaputra, it originates from the glacier, it is called Chema Yu Dang. So it is the glacier. Now Ganga originated from the glacier Gangotri, and the Brahmaputra originated from the Chema Yu Dang glacier. Now this glacier it is located in the Tibetan plateau of China. This Brahmaputra river enter in the Arunachal Pradesh and flow through the Assam and the Bangladesh. It meet river Ganga before it finally falls in the Bay of Bengal. So it meet river, this Brahmaputra river meet Ganga before it fall to the, if we draw this map of India, this region, so this is Bay of Bengal. So before falling to Bay of Bengal, the Brahmaputra river meets Ganga. Now the tributaries of this Brahmaputra river, Subanshiri, Jia, Barali, Dhanshiri, Putimari, Pagladia, Manas, Champabari. So these are the very important tributaries of the river Brahmaputra. So this Brahmaputra plain formed due to the deposition of the sediment carried by the Brahmaputra and its tributaries from the Himalayan region, as like the Indus and the this Ganga river. So Ganga river created the Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and the Bengal. So like this the other regions, so Brahmaputra river also carries the sediment from the Himalayan region, and because of this, so it deposited and created a very vast fertile plain area, and because of this reason that the Brahmaputra valley, it is very densely populated area as compared to the other non-fertile area. Next it is Deccan Plateau, we will discuss now. So Deccan Plateau, it is situated in the south and the northern India plain. This plateau, it is a triangular in the shape and composed of the hard rolled rock. I said to southern India or the Deccan area, mainly it is the hard rock. Rocky area. Now this vast plain region includes the Malwa and the Vindhya Plateau mountain in the north and Chotanagpur Plateau in the northeast. So now this vast plateau region includes this Malwa Plateau and the Vindhya mountain in the north and the Chotanagpur Plateau in the northeast. So this Vindhya mountain, this Vindhya, Satpura, Mahadev, Mahakal mountains have divided plateau into north and the southern part. So This divided what? North and the southern part. North and southern part of what? This Deccan Plateau. Now, this Deccan Plateau northern part is relatively less extensive. In the Deccan Plateau, northern part is relatively less extensive, and Malwa and Chotanagpur Plateau is located there. But southern part is extensive, and Satpura Mahadev and Mahakal mountain to Cape Comorin. Cape Comorin, here it is the Kanyakumari. Now, this Deccan Plateau is a whole higher towards the Western Ghat and sloping towards the Eastern Ghat. Now, this is Western Ghat, this is Eastern Ghat. Okay, so now Western Ghat it is a bit higher, and the towards slope it is there in the Eastern Ghat, and that is why river also flows towards Eastern Ghat, and there it is Bay of Bengal. Now what it says that according to such slope, almost all South Indian rivers, almost all South India's river flowing from west to east, and then directly falls there in the Bay of Bengal. Among the river, these are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Pennar and the Kaveri are the important. But region lying between the Satpura and the Vindhya mountain has its slope towards east to west. So Satpura and the Vindhya region east to west slope. Here what we got, it is west to east, but in the Vindhya Satpura region it is east to west. Quite opposite of that region. And in this region, this Satpura and the Vindhya mountain region, the rivers flows from the east to west, and the two major rivers are there, Narmada and the Tapti, and finally pour into the Gulf of Cambay. Now this is all about the Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau, you are mainly what to remember this Malwa Plateau. Malwa Plateau and the Vindhya mountain, okay, and the Chotanagpur Plateau in the northeast, and number of these mountains are there, rivers are there, and the direction of the river east to west to east and the east to west. That you have to remember, and to name of the rivers present there in the southern region, in the Deccan Plateau, that you have to remember. Now the next topic is the coastal region. Now coastal region, the area situated in the eastern and the western border of the country along with the Bay of Bengal. So I said you, so these are the coastal area. Okay, so the area which touch the water body. Now it can be divided eastern coast and the western coast. Okay, and these are known as this Eastern Ghat and the Bay of Bengal. It extend, this Eastern Ghat extend from mouth of Ganga to Cape Comorin, Miti, it is Kanyakumari. So this is the Eastern Ghat, and the Western Ghat it is and total length it is about 1100 kilometer, and the average with an average width of this 1-2 kilometer. It's made of the coastal delta and created by the river Deccan Plateau. So it is wider, more wider and fertile than the western coast. Now India in the western coastal region, from the mouth of Ganga to Cape Comorin it is Eastern Ghat, and total covering it is 1100 kilometer, and with which it is 120 kilometer, and this is made possible of this coastal plain and the delta created by the major rivers in the Deccan Plateau. Now like this, like the Eastern Ghat, there in the Western Ghat coastal region located Arabian Sea and the Western Ghat. It extends from Gulf of Cambay, from here Gulf of Cambay, and it is up to Cape Comorin in the south, means here, from here to there. Okay, it is Western Ghat, and Cape Comorin it is Kanyakumari. Now this coastal region is very long and narrow, and length it is 1500 kilometer, and in the Eastern Ghat what it is 1100 kilometer, and it is 1500 kilometer. Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghat, it is the length, and width ranges 10 to 15 kilometer. Their width we got it is 120 kilometer, and here 10 to 15 kilometer, and total length it is 1500 here, 1100 kilometer. So this is the length. Now like in the east, it is also known by the name for its two part. It is the northern lying, it is the Mumbai and Mangalore, it is known as the Konkan coast, and along this, and in the southern lying, okay, so Mumbai to Mangalore it is Konkan, and Mangalore to Cape Comorin it is called Malabar coast. Mangalore to Cape Comorin it is Malabar coast. Beside these four major physiographic unit, okay, so these are the four physiographic unit what we have discussed here: the coastal area, Deccan Plateau, and mountainous region, okay, Himalaya mountain system, and northern plain. Himalaya region, northern plain, Deccan Plateau, and the coastal plain, okay, coastal region. So these are the four physiographic unit that we have discussed now. Now other than this, okay, so this is not the total, okay, total land area, okay, covered by India or located or situated or found in India. It is not there. So some other lands, okay, are also there. So all these lands, okay, so these are included islands. Now Indian island included in the two group. One it is the Lakshadweep, and other it is known as Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now three major island, Lakshadweep, Mimiki, and the Amin Island are there all together. 25 small and the large island associated with the island group. Lakshadweep, in the Lakshadweep, it is situated in the Arabian Sea, and mainly the three major islands groups are there. It is Lakshadweep, Minicoy, and Amin Islands are there, and altogether 25 small and the large island associated with this group. And Andaman and Nicobar Island, it is 204 islands are there in the Andaman, and Nicobar it is 11 more small islands are there, and altogether 215 number of islands of different size are there in Andaman and Nicobar Island. So this is the four, other than these four physiographic, okay, physiographic unit, other than this four physiographic unit, so the other land areas, and mainly these are the island area. So Andaman and Nicobar Island and the Lakshadweep, okay, Lakshadweep Island. So Andaman and Nicobar Island, it is the 215 small islands are there. So by taking all together all these islands, so this is Andaman and Nicobar Island. And this physiographic, okay, physiographic climate and vegetation lifestyle, socio-economic condition are different of the islands group are also there, and this physiographic division due in maritime and the environment. So it has also importance in maritime location and the environment in the island areas, okay, mainly the Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Island area. So now the different physiographic unit that we have discussed and the different landforms are there, and because of this it also decides and it also determines the weather condition of different areas in India. So the weather condition what you will get in the Jammu Kashmir, you will not get same in the Assam, and the weather condition what you will get here in the Assam, you will not get same there in the Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu it is also a coastal area, like the Kerala is also a coastal area. So it is because of this the different physiographic units or different climatic conditions are also followed or are also present or available there in the different areas. So these are the four different physiographic units along with the island, okay, the group of the islands, it is the Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Island. So this is all about the day's discussion. You read this chapter. So this topic, if any doubt is there, you write in the comment section, I shall reply you. This is all about the day's discussion. Thanks to all.